Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to continue the strategy formulation. Okay, the next step is steps of strategy formulation. The first one, establishing organizational objectives. So this involves establishing long-term goals of an organization. This strategic decision can be taken once the organization objectives are determined. Okay, and the second one, analysis of organizational environment. So what it means, this involves SWOT analysis, so which is a meaning identifying the company's strength, weakness, and keeping the vigilance over the competitors action to understand opportunities and threats. Okay, by strength and weaknesses or internal factors which company has a control over, but the opportunities and threats are other hand, because it's a external factors. Okay, so over which the company has no control. A successful organization builds in its strength, overcomes its weakness, and identifies new opportunities and protects against the external threats. And the third one is forming quantitative goals. So what it means, defining target as to meet the company's short term, long term objectives. For the example, 30% increase. Okay, increase in the revenue this year of a company. And then fourth one is objectives in context with divisional plans. So this involves setting up a targets for every department so that they work in coherence with the organization as a whole. Okay, and then fifth one, performance analysis. So this is done to estimate the degree of variation between the actual and the standard performance of an organization. And finally, selection of strategy. Okay, this is the final step of strategy formulation. So it involves evaluation of the alternatives and selection of the best strategy among them to be the strategy of the organization. Okay, so the strategy formulation process is an integral part of a strategic management, as it helps in framing effective strategies for the organization to survive and grow in the dynamic business environments. Okay, so by this the levels of strategy formulation is a next heading. So under this there is a three level. Okay, corporate level, business level, function level strategies. Okay, and first one, corporate level, means this level outlines what you want to achieve: growth, stability, acquisition, and retention. So which focus on the what business you are going to enter the markets. Okay, and the business level strategy means this level answers the questions of how you are going to compete. Okay, so it plays a role in those organizations which have a smaller units of a business, and each is considered as a strategic business unit, SBU. And the third one, last one, is a functional level strategy. So this level concentrates on how an organization is going to grow. So it defines daily actions including allocation of resources to deliver the corporate business level strategies. Here our organization have a competitors, and it is the strategy that enable one business to become more successful and establish that the other. Okay, and the next one is resource allocation. So this is a process of assigning and managing assets in a manner that supports an organization's strategic goals. Okay, this is the meaning of resource allocation. So this includes managing tangible assets such as hardware to make the best use of software assets such as a human capital. Resource allocation involves a balancing competing needs and priorities when determining the most effective course of actions, so which order to maximize the effective use of a limited resources and gain the best return on investments. Next one is in practicing resource allocation. So this the organization must first establish their desired end goals such as increased revenue, improved productivity, and better brand recognition. Okay, so this resource allocation is making that grand plan on how to rally your troops behind a common goal. So it is about strategic planning to identify the skills required, the number of resources required for those specific skills at what intervals, for how long. Okay, so in this project management the resource allocation is a resource management. Okay, so this scheduling activities and resources required those activities while taking into consideration so both resource availability and the project time. Okay, by the strategic planning this resource allocation is a plan for using available resources. So available resources means human resources. Okay, especially in the near team, so to achieve the goal for the future. So it is a process of allocation scarce resources among the various projects and business opportunities units. So by this, the resources are crucial to an organization strategy, and vision and managing them will goes on a long way in achieving that vision. So let us understand the moving parts behind the step establishing a robust resource allocation of your projects. So what it means mainly, this is assign the right people to work on a task necessary to complete a project. So because if the people are wrong for the wrong job, okay, so they didn't appoint the right people for a work, means the work will be spoiled. So they won't get the actual output what they have planned. So that they have to allocate the resources necessarily to complete a project. So if you are going to need a designer, writers, construction workers or individual workers to your project, those have some of your resources. So if you need them to bring along with your software, hardware and their tools to get those tasks done, those are also resources. For the tools what they are having, okay, time and money can be considered as resources as well. So from then, you have to assign all of those things to the task they are required to get a full project completed. So you are assigning the tools you need or allocating your resources, okay. And next one is the importance of resource allocation. So mainly the most important aspects of resource allocation is that you are going to have everything where you need it, so when you need it. So after all this, if you need the company accountant to help you with a specific financial for your project, but she is working on another task elsewhere, you are not probably allocating your resources. So if you need a meeting room to host a big discussion, but they are all booked, then you also have not properly allocated your resources. That's why it's so important to get these things done as early as possible, okay. So the best way you are going to able to allocate resources is to make a plan even before you start executing the project. So you should be able to sit down with one or two other people to create a plan based around the project. So the plan is need to be detailed enough to specify just who needs to be working, okay, how much money is available to work and how much time is available to work on it. So from there you can start to reach out those individuals, to reach out to the company, to make sure that all of the things and people you need are going to be available. So once you allocate resources to a project, that means those resources can't be taken away from you. So at least they shouldn't be. So that's going to make much easier for you accomplish the task. Now in the most instance, the project manager or a program manager will be involved in the process of resource allocation. So they are going to make sure that everything is assigned properly, that it's getting done better, okay. So however, the importance to interact with an people that work needed for the project, so to make sure that they can work on the task needed. And the next one is aspects that negatively impact your resource allocation. What are the aspects will impact, okay, which affects. So based on what if you cannot get everything working just right. So what if there are a struggle in the process of allocating your resources? Well, the truth is that several different things. So this could be resource allocation more difficult. So let's take a little closer look at what some of those things are that you should be looking at, okay. And then under this, the first one is the timeline changes. So one of the first things that often changes when it comes to any project is the timeline. So you might end up with a project manager or a program manager who decides they need a to project done sooner, so like yesterday. Or you might have a client that is suddenly a big rush to get things done. So or maybe one of the pieces of the puzzle took longer than expected. Now everyone else needs to work faster to get their part done. And of course their part started later, so which means they may not have the same availability that they didn't initially. So which takes us to another point in the further down. Sorry, it's gone. So I'll continue one by one, okay. And then the second one is a scope changes. The scope of the project is another aspect, so that can change the resource being allocated. If the scope of project being requested changes, it is entirely possible that the people required to work on it, so it will also change. New task, new needs are going to make an essential for the additional tools which is to be used as well. So this can change what you originally requested as a resources for your projects. So this might throw off the entire project if those resources are not immediately available. And the third one is resource availability changes. So if you don't have a right resources to get the right job done, you are also going to have some problems. So getting everything allocated. Maybe the people you need for this project just are not available at the time you need them. So if that's the case, you will either need to find new people or you are going to need rearrange the timeline of the project itself. So this can make it difficult for a project manager or a program manager to get the job done or to ensure that someone else can get the job done. Okay, and the next one is a dependencies. So if there is one part of the project that needs to get done before the next part of the project, so which can be done, that means there is a dependency. But what if a part A of the project takes a week longer than its planned? So now we need to part B to be done later. So this might not be possible with the original team that you put together, because what if the team that is not responsible for the part B, because they have another project that now needs to be done. So maybe they booked you into the only week they have available. So but now they are behind, just can't make it work. So now you have to figure out a way to work around their other schedules or to change the team you have planned. And finally, next one is the overall urgency. So you have to understand what is the most urgent aspects are. So do you need to get this task done immediately? It's often the case the project that comes in a first will get a pushed off to the side in favor of a entirely different project, so which needs to be completed. If that's the case, you may need to reallocate some of your people so they can work on a newer project. Your project may lose people because your manager believes that other project is more important and allocates your team to that area instead. And finally, teamwork. So your entire team needs to be able to work together. So it's not just making sure that your team can work together in a small group. So the entire team, everyone who's responsible for the project, needs to be able to work together and to get the project to be done together. Okay, so this is not always easy, especially when you are bringing together people who may not work together frequently. If that's the case, you wanted to make sure that you are doing this some team building, and that you are figuring out ways to make sure everyone can get along. And the next one is understand the project scope. So the first step towards setting up the resource plan for your project is to understand the goals and requirements of the projects. Okay, the clearer scope, easier to it's estimate the number of hours, assess the skills required, timeline needed to meet the project goals. So more importantly, you are able to do quick resources to skill mapping, that of the project requirements. So it gives you ample view to plan your resource needs. So request for additional resources which make a solid training plan to bridge any talent gaps. So once you have listed out all the resource requirements, you are going to move to next step. Okay, and the next one is resource availability. So by this, identifying your available resources is essential to further your resource allocation plan. So based on the resource to skill mapping, you can reach out to the resource manager on the organization to gain access to your available talent pool. So the most significant part is to have concentrate answers to. So who are your available resources? What skills do they possess? How many of them have the skills that fix your requirements? So how long are these resources available for to work on your projects? So armed with these answers, you start assigning the relevant resources to your projects. Okay. And the next one is time tracking and resource utilization. So keep tracking the project estimated hours and the burn down rate, so which is must be ensured that your project stay profitable. So once your resources are on board, start assigning tasks with the proper due dates, estimated hours. So provide them with an easy to use central project tool for the time tracking. So this way all resource can track, analyze their performance, and it also makes it easier for the project manager to see project progress in real time. So you can mark your billable hours, assess your typical slag in terms of hours, so you cannot bill your clients for. So over a time, you can make amendments to the process upskill your resources, minimize non-billable activities, which used to improvise the utilization rates across the company. And the next one is what is human resources? Okay, so next we're gonna see human resources. So what human resources means? So this means it is a tactical approach. Okay, resources means the resources which are all in a human. Okay, so this is a tactical approach which deals with acquisition, training, development, orientation, motivation, and retention of the personnel of an organization. So which is powerful tool for any organization to succeed. So it is a continuous and never ending process. Okay, the mainly this is managing human resource refers to the functions, okay, that the manager performs relative to the organization employees. So this managing human resource can also refer to the act of providing the management actions that employee of the human resource departments. And the next one is human resource manager, so which is a trained person responsible for the placement of employees in the right position, training, orientation of employees, addressing grievances and solving conflicts, and ensuring safety, security of employees, looking after the promotion, appraisal of the employees, and aiming at the retention of valuable employees in the organization. So a human resource manager also act as a link between the management and the employees. So which he communicate the management policies and instruction to employees as well as employers' grievances and queries to the management. And the next one is the nature of human resource management, HRM. Okay, so this is inevitable part of every organization. So it is crucial to have an in-depth knowledge of HRM to realize organizational goals and simultaneously creating a happy and contented workforce. So nature of the HRM, to get a better understanding of the nature, so we must go through the following points. Okay, the points are: first one, pervasive function. So this practices all levels of management, applies to all kinds of organization, even to non-profit organization. Okay. Second, result oriented. So it aims mainly at achieving organizational objectives through the optimum utilization of resources. And the next one is a tactful approach. So this deals with the people who are distinct from another one. So thus the manager needs to apply diverse strategies and tactics at different points of time and different situations. Next one is a people centric. So this human resource management is concerned majorly with the employees working in an organization. Next one is integrative action. So it focuses on maintaining a cordial relation, so which is among the employees at a different levels and also address employee grievances. And finally, continuous process. So this is an ongoing process of procurement, development, and redirection of a personnel towards organizational goals, so which cannot be completed in a day or a week or a month. Okay. And the next one is the objectives of HRM. So the primary aim at human resource management is to meet the human resource capital requirement of an organization. So we'll discuss the 4 other objectives of HRMs. Okay. The first one is societal objectives. So HRM, it is essential to comply with the laws of society, such as the labor law, reservation law system. Okay, so which is obligatory for any organization to fulfill its ethical and social responsibilities, which can be done only through HRM. And the next one is organizational objectives. So this human resource management is not an independent unit, but it is dependent department which aims at facilitating the other departments of the organization to function smoothly. Okay. And third one is functional objectives. So this ensures that every department is supplemented with the employees possessing the required set of skills and talent at the desired cost. So it also provides for the optimum utilization of the human capital. And the next one is the personal objectives, to ensure employees long-term association with the organization and to enhance employees commitment, contribution towards the organization, and HRM helps to employees to reach their personal goals. Okay. And the next one is a functions of human resource management. So because this HRM, okay, is a systematical approach to fill up the gap between the organization and its employees. To simply, the task is of managing the human capital of the organization, various functions of HRM which have been developed. These functions are categorized broadly as as follows. C. One sec. So mainly the functions of human resource management. It has the two types, managerial and operative. Managerial has the three types, four. Planning, organizing, directing, controlling, PODC. And for operative, procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance. So now we'll see one by one. So managerial function. So this human resource management is essential at all the levels of organization. So the top management is responsible for forming strategies and giving directions for the successful application of such plans. In the process, they perform all the following functions. The functions are follows. The first one is a planning. So first, the management must be aware of the vacant position or a workforce requirement of the organization. So then only they need to formulate the strategies for the meeting the requirements. And the second one is organizing. Organizing means the manager has to establish a framework for the operative functions, so which is bringing together the human resource and physical resource available with the organization. And the next one is the directing. So once the framework is ready, the manager instructs and guides the team to work accordingly to meet the organizational objectives. And next one is a controlling. So the management predefines the standard for performance and later analyzes the result based on such criteria through the performance appraisal and job analysis. So the management has to take corrective measures if necessary. And the next one is operative functions. So operative functions means these are those which are taken on a departmental level. Excuse me. And are a medial level, so which is mainly concerned about the execution of the plans strategies formulated at the managerial level to know more about the different operative functions. The functions are follows. The first one is a procurement. We already seen procurement. So the acquisition of a human resources primarily function. So which involves estimation of the personal requirements and recruitment and selection of a suitable candidates, the placement and orientation of the workforce in the right position. And the next one is a development. So to develop the required skills and talents within the employees, the managers have to use various training techniques. And the third one is compensation. So it is in the form of remuneration given to the employees instead of their services to the organization, which should be adequate and fair. So the employees are liable to get other benefits such as a bonus and incentives. And the next one is integration. So this means making the new employees familiar with the organization and their task and process. So this introduce them to the organizational environment and their colleagues. And finally, maintenance. So the most important of all, the retention of the employees, which require providing them with the various benefits and facilities. So like a PF, life insurance, accidental insurance, health insurance, pensions, gratuity, allowances, and taking other health and safety measures. So by this human resource management functions over. We'll see you all in the next class with the next topic. Till then, take care. Thank you.